from working this thing called a job, and
Pays the bills.
and what I do now is I work with other businesses to bring them more exposure online.
Very good. And
Yeah, I'm Larry Green, Nevada native, semi-retired forced. I'm developing an automatic, well, actually corral system, farm branches centered around automatic livestock feeders.
And I'm Bill Conrad. I'd like to be retired, but I have 2 kids who are 12 and 14 and an older son who's grown up. And after 31 years of active reserve and 20 years equivalent, I can't retire because I've got to make a lot more money. And I've had businesses. Before 9/11, I had a fairly robust design build construction company, built 2 subdivisions. Always use technology in my companies. And I use it overseas in the military. So without further ado, let's go start projections. This is the first question. What do you see for the state? First of all, let's talk with Reno. What do you see for Reno in the next 12 months for 2015? We'll answer that question.
It looks like the business climate, with the addition of the Tesla deal last summer,
Right.
looks strong. I've heard also that since I'm new to the area, that Amazon is going to relocate from Fernley to Reno eventually. But because the cost of living and the tax base here and the more favorable legislature in the state, looks like better opportunities for the state as well as Reno, because the cost of living is much cheaper than Southern California, Silicon Valley area. So I look forward to a strong, diverse base of workers in the area, and good development in beyond just tourism, and but also in the technology and sectors of development.
I'm not sure that I have a real good prediction of anything that's going to happen here in Reno. Part of the concern it's completely different, maybe different thought process. One of our major issues is going to be water.
Right.
The people want a huge amount of growth, and there's 100 reasons to have growth, but without water, growth isn't going to do a lot.
Well said.
I'm not the eternal optimist. I've not worked for anybody else but myself since I graduated college, which was quite a few years ago. I look beyond Nevada to the world economy, see how it does. Doesn't look good right now, I don't believe. I think the Nevada legislature looks good to a Californian, but because they're so much further advanced into socialism than we are, but we're on their cusp, we're right on their tail. Tax-wise, if you add it all up, we're not all that much better. We don't have an income tax yet, but there's predictions that the legislature is going to load on another $1 billion or so with taxes for businesses. So I don't know. We'll just wait and see.
Very good. And my projection is that Reno will do really well because of Tesla. That's a tremendous impact of jobs. Even between now and the first of the year, they project 1,000 construction jobs coming into effect. That's a lot of money being induced into the economy.
20 years this, the impact was what, $1 billion?
It's a lot, but
Over 20.
what's happening right now is the commercial space, a lot of it's being taken up in some specific offices and locations. And the other thing, since we're in real estate, the specialty housing industry, which people go out and rent houses and then rent them temporarily to executives and work crews, is skyrocketing right now. Those are hot right now. If you're a real estate agent, go rent a couple houses and sublet them out, or help people sublet them out and fill them up, because that's a specialty. They're getting even, especially engineers, contractors, people working out of these houses, where they'll have the Wi-Fi, the furniture, everything ready to go, turnkey for these people coming in. And that work has continued to go even past Tesla, because Tesla will bring so much more. So with 1,000 people coming in, that's going to be at least another 5,000 to 6,000 more jobs, and tertiary jobs and other monies. And then it'll do nothing but grow. So I think it's going to be a crazy year, but the water issue is really interesting.
Well, here's another thing. There's an awful lot of talk about all of this magical word called green energy, and if you're familiar with the big power plant, the solar power plant down in somewhere in the near Las Vegas.
I've seen that on the way to 15.
This massive power plant down there. Okay, Google, one of the major investors or owners of that power plant, is trying to get the feds to pay their mortgage, to get them out of debt. And there was another interesting story that I saw last week. A Google engineer says, all this green energy is basically the best we can do is break even.
Right.
And that was coming around. That was pretty big. And this was just last week.
Well, that'll be good. We'll start the next question. You get the next question. We'll go around this way. We'll finish up. Next question is, what do you see for the state of Nevada overall? You've got Las Vegas, Reno, and then you've got the East. What do you see of the impacts within the state? We just had a Republican state, seven constitutional down. So what do you see this year?
That has some. That has hope, but that depends on whether do the right times. That's questionable. It has some possibility of as we were talking. As Larry was talking.
Get everybody's
about,
name down.
As Larry was, Nevada's following closely on the heels of California with California's bad habits.
Maybe he's cautiously optimistic.
I didn't say cautiously at all. It was not the eternal optimist.
All right.
So measure 3 brought out, like was the ad valorem or mill tax, it's additional tax.
Start out with how do you take the gross of a business, whether they're making money or not, and tax it?
I've seen cities in California do that, and they lose business immediately.
Well, yeah.
In certain kinds of business, they lose right away. Any high dollar volume business, they're gonna leave. Except for the brick and mortar gets stuck there.
It's 30 years ago, I worked with some Lindy, some fairly large companies out of the East, and they're always curious about coming to Nevada, but they investigated for several years, and they came up with the fact that they believed that they could not trust the government in Nevada to do the right thing for business. They were dead on right.
That's interesting. So what's your forecast?
Well, again, I think as the world goes, I think Nevada will go. California collapses. We're in the doorstep. It can be good. We're on the doorstep of 40 million people here, gas tank away, so to speak. If the world economy goes well, the California experiment will probably continue. If the world economy doesn't go well, then I believe California will sink into the depths of socialism, and they will pay for running loose for so many years. And I think Nevada, although they do have an opportunity, if they would break away, we can, if we would not mirror California, we could build the power plants, use the coal out of Utah, Idaho, produce the electricity, refine the oil, but we cannot do it playing by the same rules.
I do have a here in Salt Lake. It's really easy to fire natural gas.
But it's very difficult to be able to build a power plant due to federal regulation.
Right. So I was after 9/11, they built a lot of power plants in LA, natural gas fired as backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, I think they took a lot of other ones off the line that were still very, very viable.
They did. The older
and what was the story? And I don't remember the numbers, but the new EPA regs that just got released
This week.
last week. This week?
Last
Yeah, this
week.
week. One of these. And that in itself would be,
decimate coal.
massive. They're talking about, okay, so that, like maybe the fuel mileage might be the same, but the cost of buying a car would just go through the roof.
So here's my forecast for Nevada. One is the gaming industry in Las Vegas is going to do better this year. That housing will continue to improve in Las Vegas. And here, we're going to see housing do real well, provided that the builders are allowed to build. There's a lot of opportunity here because of people moving here. And the third area is not so much even the jobs, but we went from a gaming city into a focusing on Reno Tahoe, which is the outdoors element, which will never go away, which is gorgeous,
Certainly.
clean air. And now we're going into an economic boom with Tesla and other places, which will beef up other areas. So it really depends on good city councils and county governments to do good planning to
Again,
get things moving.
I'm not the eternal optimist. I think Tesla, I think he's another Barnum. He sold the group of Nevada a bill of goods. Taxpayers are going to pay his way. If it was such a viable business, why did he need the government help in the first place?
Well,
6,500 employees. Biggest employer in Nevada, I believe, is IGT at the tune of what, 1,600. I mean, it's going to be a problem. I don't believe it's going to be what everyone expects it to be.
well, we'll have to see. So
We'll see. Save this.
now you get to finish up for
Well,
Nevada.
since I'm from California here, I didn't realize that the mining industry in Nevada is much more significant than in California or even other Western states, which is strong. The entertainment, gaming component is strong, but the prison system is one of the largest employers, to my surprise. But I think Nevada is always going to be in a symbiotic relationship with the Golden State, which I'm a refugee. But if we don't end up like a stepchild, sometimes there's promises like Tesla makes because they have the prospect of bringing jobs, which everybody loves jobs, but with job, there's complications with housing, education, school systems, and social situation. But it's complicated, but I think people are dazzled by the jobs that a big firm would bring like Tesla and not aware of the backside of the process. So it's hopeful, strong. Is it manageable with the legislature and the government locally and statewide? I think so. It takes strong, courageous leadership to keep them on track.
Very good. So now we'll look at our two more forecasts. Let's look at national. What do you think is going to happen nationally in our country? We have a new Republican House and Senate, and we have a president who's a Democrat who is doing things that are really, I believe, damaging to the economy.
At least questionable.
And he's destroyed our foreign policy. There's no doubt in my mind what I do, and I got to be careful what I say,
Right.
because of what I used to do. He showed weakness. He can't show weakness.
So we have fiat money, our debt, our local, our state, our national debt. Something's going to have to come home to us sooner or later. It's not going to be pretty, I don't believe. Maybe not 15, maybe 16. There could be a collapse in the dollar.
Right. Here's my forecast. ISIS is going to continue to be a major threat. It's going to grow. And until you get a State Department and a president who is extraordinarily tough and can bluff and not play his cards, you're going to have ISIS continue to grow in the region. So that's going to be it. And then for our economy, I think we're going to continue to improve our economy this year. And then other than that, that's about all I can say at national. Those are some major issues.
Well, with the
John?
recent correction in Congress, it's clear that people want the border secure. I don't think it's just shy of 2/3 of the nation doesn't support this latest administrative action by the president. But it's a complicated issue. And it seems to me there's opportunity, but strong leadership, I believe, is what's required. I'm not sure the POTUS has the capability to do that.
No, he bowed. And his first foreign trip, he bowed. That was the start.
Indicator, yeah.
So I will pray for better leadership in Washington.
Well, it's not a question of better leadership. I think it's the leadership that actually wants the U.S. to win. and I'm not convinced that our folks in Washington want that. Here's another issue too, that since we're talking about economy, it's I've seen some articles talking about China just about on the edge of where their economy is about to collapse. Their bubble is bursting.
Overbuilt?
Well, that was
And-
years ago.
Well, they built huge cities that
Right, they're
there's
empty.
absolutely nobody in them.
Right.
And then China is also getting very ambitious militarily. Not just China, but so is Putin.
No, that's right. You have Russia. You do have new threats.
Well, there's-
And the army's been downsized. The military's been downsized tremendously.
Well, not only they've been downsized, but they've also been given other duties, like fighting Ebola.
Which has never been done before.
That
I know.
And a bunch of other things like that. It's just like, okay, so NASA was assigned to their task, instead of going to the moon or anything like that, was Muslim outreach.
I didn't see that one. I believe you though, because I'm trying to figure out what they've been doing lately.
Oh, that was probably
I remember a little
4
hearing-
years ago.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Let's see, was it Belgium? Belgium now formally has a Muslim political party.
Really?
So,
No, I saw the numbers. It's quite large, the Muslim population in the world. But that's another issue.
Clearly.
We'll continue. That is another issue. So, in conclusion, we'll finish up. Let's see. Did I get
Militarily, we should not have boots on the ground anywhere in the world.
That's a real strong
Bring
libertarian.
them all home to defend our borders, because that's where we may need it very soon.
I wish that was possible.
Why isn't it possible? We let Vietnam, it came from the Vietnam era. We let Vietnam happen. We sat on our hands, we kept our mouths closed, and we did what we were told. Let's not let it happen again.
it was Walter Cronkite and Congress.
Exactly.
Joe Votel is the 4-star general and started all special forces.
Mhm.
I was a young special forces officer, and Joe's in charge. And he's my classmate, and I worked in that environment. I'm a strong believer that you need some advisors group and specialty group. It's very difficult. The Middle East is in bad shape right now. I mean, it's not getting better with everything that we've done. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
We can
I think
hire it done.
That's true.
The best
They're doing that right now.
foreign aid we can do is bring people out of the third world countries, men, whatever.
Yeah.
They will fight. And we pay them. We stop the giveaways to the leaders, and we pay them, and they send their money home. The best grassroots foreign aid we can give them.
Sort of like a foreign legion.
Well, why not?
Foreign legion.
Why not? Why, sending our boys over there and having them busted up in the under the flag of oil doesn't work any longer.
I mean, that's foreign. It's interesting. So, in conclusion, I get to start and we'll finish up. You get to finish up the forecast. So,
Okay.
what's going on locally here? Going back here, this is for me. This is my forecast. I've been working really hard to try to figure out new media. New media. I guess the podcast started in 2004, but because of the smartphone, new media is really changing stuff, and as people can see it, and where you've got Generation X, Y, and the Millennials, and then you got the Boomers. We're the Boomers, and the greatest generation is pretty old right now. So, Generation X and Y will really be the leaders of the future, and they understand the new media, new communications and systems. So I think you're going to see that grow it may go up double in its capacity this year in connectivity systems and processes. So, and you're going to see traditional marketing continue to decline even more so. That's your newspapers, a little bit of your terrestrial radio, and specifically your TVs, as people go more Wi-Fi and base Wi-Fi and connectivity. So that's what I see. So how do you do it? We're in a huge change when it comes to marketing. So you got to do a little bit of everything right now. We're in a interesting environment, So that's what I see in business-wise. It's going to be very challenging this year for people in marketing agencies and businesses to make their company transition to the new media. I think those are going to be challenges. And then one final challenge is you look into this year we'll know who's going to be running for president. we're about a year and a half out from the primaries. And you'll see a different kind of election than you did 6 months ago, because you'll have more new media into it, because it'll be a younger voter group coming out and vote because of the presidential. So those are my forecasts that new media, which is what I do, that's why I'm in it, will be one of the most challenging areas for any business person to be in.
Well, I like what you have to say. I think the generation X and Y and the Z guys coming are well connected, but I don't think they're strong participants. Just an observation. Well connected, they might their knowledge might be a mile wide, but only half-inch deep. Just on not a.
But the change is you can Google it.
Right, that's
Literally,
true.
I can figure out how to do almost anything.
I believe they're well connected. I don't think that they're as engaged to participate, like Larry might say. My uncle was a sewing machine guy back in the 60s. It took him like 20 years, he told me, to figure out his best way to market his sewing machine business down San Diego.
I do believe it.
Any business person takes a while to navigate over a course of 10 or 15 years to figure out what works. You know, when we were younger, we used to see searchlights in our cities at night to advertising and other mechanisms. So finding this avenue for any businessman based on the changes could drive them crazy. But you can't be wrong staying well connected with people who are on the cutting edge, because the days of windshield flyers in the parking lot are gone. That's not as effective, but finding what's most effective for Larry or Bill or you is important if you want to be effective.
So Larry, you get to do your forecast with your business, which you're not really retired, but retired. Excuse me, Larry.
This Larry or this Larry?
This Larry. My brother Larry.
No. Gotta go this
The
way.
other Larry.
Larry.
Brother from a different mother.
Eric. I'm getting all mixed up here. Eric.
Don.
I gotta do this better. I've never done this before. You're Eric.
No,
say-
I was just a minute. I
Larry-
was just Larry.
Larry and Eric.
Bill and Bill.
But it's
John.
John,
Don.
Don,
Don.
And Eric.
Eric, and Bill. You should always write. I didn't have pencil and paper anymore. It's really bad. Bad. So learning someone's first name is really important to do in discussion. So Don, it's your turn with your business. What do you see as forecast?
Actually, and I'm intending to agree with John. What he just said was you talking about these other generations. Okay, they all got their cell phones, but here's an interesting thing about them, because they're not. I think they're so wrapped up in this stuff. Yesterday, I happened to be at the Atlantis, at their big shindig there, and okay, there was about 6 people sitting around the table, and they're all staring at their phone, just completely all staring at the phone. So there's 6 people there. They had dinner, but they weren't talking to each other, so there was no connection with where they really were. They weren't here and now. You can't be here and now because this is somewhere else.
Is that the Lieutenant Governor's roast? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Something else?
No. It was they have a Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thanksgiving buffet.
Thanksgiving buffet. Yeah.
No, upstairs.
Oh, upstairs.
Upstairs in the Grand Ballroom or whatever the place is called. I believe. I mean, a big part of what I'm involved in is helping other businesses. The last time you used the yellow pages is probably a long time ago. It's not an effective not an effective way of getting your message out or getting customers to find you. It's a better doorstop. It's better a bunch of other things like that, and so the stuff is changing, and not only that, say Yellow Pages is incredibly expensive, and then there's a bunch of other things that are part of what's new.
You like the digital version?
Well, the digital version is probably better, but I'm not a big user, because there's many other possible ways of, accomplishing the same thing. I thought just disappeared or what I was about to say. But so businesses that have been depending on the old stuff are going to have to find other ways of getting their customers. And some of them haven't quite. A lot of them, and from my sense, is that a lot of them don't believe it. Yeah. They don't believe it, or this. Well, see, here's the other thing: was a whole bunch of businesses have been bombarded with somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to do SEO for you," or "I'm going to do this other."
SEO is no magic,
and the bottom line is they probably ended up spending a lot of money and getting a lot of promises that weren't fulfilled.
Know what you're getting into before you get into it. I see really seasoned people and developers pay a lot of money for coders. Like a lot of money. And what do they get? I mean, I'm just saying it's a weird business. And Eric will finish up with you. You get to finish up.
All right. I believe with it. I agree with
I'm bad.
but you don't hear me say very often.
This is
I
good
agree with
practice.
both of them.
This is how bad this starts. See, you got to just put time on this.
Don.
Don.
And no, you say there were six people texting at the dinner table, which is interesting because they probably were talking to one another. But I would
Seems
associate,
tragic to me.
yeah, I would associate that with eating without getting the taste of the food at all. They've lost it's a one-dimensional communication they have, and the feeling has been lost, the taste has been lost of it.
I watch it. I'm going to interrupt,
Sure.
rudely interrupt, but I see people. For instance, I'll give you an example of in 4th of July over by the Nugget, the fireworks thing. The people are walking around and they're staring at their phone rather than looking up in the sky. I mean, so they're not there; they're somewhere else.
They could have been watching the fireworks.
Or you could watch this on the phone.
Yeah. I at one time rode to Ely, 350 miles, with 3 other people in the car, younger people in the car. Not a word was spoken. Well, I was talking, I was driving, and
Did you have a TV screen there?
No, I wasn't part of the conversation. And to find out after, they're all didn't see a thing, whatever. But and to find out later that they were all texting each other. And it probably was derogatory to me, but I really don't care. But I'm not that bad a driver. But again, that was their mode of communication when they're sitting 3 feet away from one another.
Well,
So
this is a good practice run and test.
yeah,
we did
I
today.
haven't finished.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Bill.
I believe in the new the new kicking and screaming. I'll be there, I'm sure. But anyway.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. Happy New Year. We'll try this again. One thing I do think to do this, you can't be in a coffee shop with this kind of microphone.
With the
Well,
background.
in heavens, no. You've got to be.
You can have coffee. But
So I learned,
more formal.
like in the building site, that the curve on learning swimming, I had a job about 10 years ago. I had to replace or fix these power doors. And it took me a while. The learning curve, we stood around for 2 hours trying to figure it out. Then the last part went zoom, but it takes a while to figure out. You can be a smart guy, but I know how to do power doors in this older house. The hinges, the roller, that hardware was up in the track. How did we get it out? We had to pull back the trim, pull it out, and then put the trim back to the. I'm going to pull the trim out. I was going to do it.
There's no fast way to learn construction other than just to go and actually do it.
Same thing with SEO and merchandise. So you guys are like maximizing. You say, look, give me $1,000 and I will help maximize your business. It'll come back 5-fold, 10-fold, because I can show you a couple tricks to making your restaurant or small shop.
Hey, one last thing we're going to do, we're going to change mics here so you can see. We're going to actually go to the mic on the camera, which is over there.
What I'm going to suggest too, for like if you want to do something in here, the best thing would be with a headset.
Yeah, if everyone had headsets, that would look good.
You from a headset,
Well,
just him with a headset, or?
Anybody that's talking.
Oh, okay.
It's, okay, if you ever participated in a webinar, and, you know, where you're participating and not just doing it, having a headset, because anything, let's say, if whatever comes across the speaker gets picked up and recycled.
Right.
And so using the headset, it cuts out all that extraneous stuff, because you don't get the noise from other stuff.
Right, and it focuses. And just take a piece of paper and get bios from people at a time.
What's that?
Just getting a piece of paper and get bios from people.
Sure. John, I believe in you. What guarantee are you going to give me that you're going to produce what you say you're going to? You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and
If I come in and said, look, I know Charlie across town, I said, give me $700 and I'll turn into
why don't you do the job and then I'll give you $700?
know what I mean? Charlie took a chance and I tripled his money, showed him some names. So I say, here's Charlie, you go talk to Charlie. He'll tell you I saved him some money. Because he knows bicycles. He doesn't know about the internet and that kind of thing. Or like posting ads. So he's got Charlie's bicycles over there on the boulevard. So we post ads on bicycle websites online. And kids buying these hipster bikes, you know, with one gear, but it made a difference. So even though I'm a contractor, say, well, who you built for? Well, I built for this guy here. I built for Charlie. I built for that. Here's my work. Talk to me. You don't like it, that's fine. But you have to come with something where you say, look, Harrison Ford built a recording studio for Brazil 66. Whatever the guy. He knew he could do it. Made about $100,000. He'd never done it before. This is I can do it. He was an actor.
Because he actually did carpentry. He works for the carpentry union.
And he said I went to study books. So he talked someone in, he could do it. He said, all right, let me try. He had to go to the library and learn, but he didn't. I never thought about doghouse, but I can. So trust me, I can build the doghouse. I built stuff here, but never built a doghouse before.
No, trust me. No, trust me. How many times as a contractor?
You've been hanging around these Nevada politicians too
I've been in
long.
Nevada too long. I've been in business too long.
Contractors.
How many times? And I built a couple houses myself. How many times did you get paid before the house was done?
I can tell you a weird story. I dodged that for a moment. I had a customer who won the lottery. So they were in Sunnyvale in
Fooling
'93.
his money soon parted. But
So I
anyway.
went to bid this job to everyone out of the bathroom, and I saw him on TV on Channel 2 in Oakland. So I called him up and said, hey, I've never known anybody who won the lottery, man. That's great. You won the lottery. It's great. I don't want nothing. And so I brought him some wine. I said, we do the kitchen and the bathroom. So I did that job. It's fine. So a year later, they said, I want you to do my they took everything from the mom's house. They said, here, she paid me everything on advance, which is not right. Even between fair people say, I pay you half up front, half on the end, not according to California law.
Most contractors pay 10% max you can draw before you start working, and then you can draw.
She paid me everything up front, which I accepted, but I really hustled for the next week to get it done so I could get clear of my conscience of ripping people off. But it makes me work because I'm a person of virtue. Some people hit for the border, but
Sure you are.
You've been hanging
I
around
like-
these
I like-
politicians for a
I've
long
been in
time.
business too long.
progress payments based
You said what
on
your business was.
That's several. Anyway, go ahead.
progress payments based on performance. So
After the job was done. Performance, not
no,
before the job.
progress payments through the job.
Right.
So for 30%, so it's usually, this bill, just before you're going to get paid, all your money's out on the table, you're about to get paid. You go, man, I hope I get paid here because it puts me flush again. But if you don't get paid, it's kind of difficult when you're trying to manage your money. So I like I tended particularly to my customer. Whoever's writing the check, I want that person to be happy. Wife, customer, the guy, the CFO, whatever it is, I make sure they're happy because if we have a good relationship, even if we're a little shy, a little short, whatever, he'll pay me because I worked on the relationship, which I probably learned from my dad and my uncle on customer service. So
So your guarantee was your
no.
performance.
right.
So you
Right.
performed and you got paid.
Yeah, but I also work on extra on making sure the performance with the
Certainly.
customer
Right.
is a good one, so that they know even if I have a bad day, I come in drunk, they know on the whole, I'm a good guy.
So Don, what do you think? How do you get customers and clients get paid?
Trust me.
In construction, I've seen contractors not get paid by a lot of shysters.
Yeah,
You got mechanical liens, you got to know what you're doing. You have any idea? Marketing?
Well, a big part of the marketing now with people that are doing online stuff is you got to give a whole gob of free stuff first, just to get started. And the free stuff establishes trust.
Social credibility.
Well, that's part of it. And because if you have somebody else that, just like with him, there's somebody else that gives a referral, that's also provides some of that same stuff. It's the same thing. You said, okay, what kind of, like, for instance, Bill was just talking about, okay, so he uses this kind of microphone. He recommends that kind of microphone. So if you're in the market for a microphone, you might go buy that one, even if he was getting a.
But not from him.
We don't.
No, it's a trust me.
You go on and get my
Recommendation.
Amazon account.
But it's not about whether you buy it from him, but because for one thing you experienced something with it, even though it was where this noisy environment. He gave a referral, and the same thing. Let's say, where's a referral of where would you go for dinner today, or something else like that. Each one of those is a part of the trust part. And so, it's not necessarily somebody you never met him and never talked to him before and say, trust me. Yeah, okay, trust me, but I'll cut the cards kind of. And maybe even cut the cards with somebody you've been around for, especially if it's family.
So if you go to Timelines of Success and hit the Amazon right there and put the mic in, I get a commission.
really?
Oh, really? Who pays the other end?
Amazon does.
Oh, Amazon.
Amazon's taking off the top,
Really?
4 to 6%. What you do is you put like this as a link, and they just put the link and they can buy it. It's called affiliate.
Oh, I mean, in our discussion with the mic, you can get.
Right there. No, it's
It's called affiliate marketing.
there's many different things like that if you use that link to go to Amazon to buy
Mhm.
something,
Mhm.
he would get.
Then you could get a commission on it.
Yeah. And
But
I
back
don't-
to our, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but back to our discussion, how can you guarantee? And again, I'm searching.
I got an answer to that.
Okay.
The best way I think online with a product is to say that you get a 30-day or 60-day money-back guarantee on your product.
That's good.
Because most people are honest, and when they see that you're producing a good product, they're going to stay with you. If you really have a crappy product, it's not going to work.
But
Well,
then you're still.
here's the plan B on that very same issue. Because, and what, let's say that I can sort of deliver a service, and you can try it out, and you can use it, and you can do all the things, but you don't get the keys to it until you pay me. Okay, that's.
There you
So
go.
like the beta
There you go.
version before you get the real one?
No,
There
it's
you go.
not, it's not the beta version, it's, okay, so Bill says he sets up websites, okay?
Simple, basic websites.
But you set up
WordPress
the
101.
website, you look at the website and say, okay, that'll work for me, then.
There you go.
When you give him money, he will give you the
You answered my
the
question.
login and password.
You built the bathroom before,
Yeah,
and I'm satisfied with the bathroom, then I'll pay you.
that's not a bad way to design it. My
Yeah.
product is really just helping a business guy to get off the ground to understand the basics of the web.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of other things. Let's say with Facebook, setting up a Facebook page. Okay, I'll put this Facebook page together, but before you get the administrative rights to it,
Yeah.
You
If
just
like
did
it.
you just did that. You just set up. You've got all of your domains all under one name, which is really important to sort. I didn't sort that way. You're all the way across the board.
Right, but I
With
can't get my
Facebook,
main domain transferred still.
They will
So-
transfer.
Okay, but anyway,
They have to.
yeah. So,
I'm sorry, how does that work? Back to layman's terms, all your domains are under your account or your
Right.
Well, I teach, you put them under, I like to put them in one provider. I use GoDaddy
Right.
because it's not going to go out of business. You can point it, you do the DSNs wherever you want it.
Right.
But the more important thing is he's got the Gmail with the same name. And then he's got his Facebook.
Connect.
.com.
Right.
Everything
Yeah.
on the same name.
Under the
So
same name.
like, and Twitter, you have Twitter on the same name. So like my Twitter is Bill Conrad 360. My Facebook is William B. Conrad. I mean, I got all these different names involved, and LinkedIn. So in your business,
That's the reality. That's fairly close in your case. You know, I mean, some people are, I mean, not even close on this stuff. Well, let's see.
easy
Sure.
keep.
Oh, yeah, okay, I do remember now. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Easy Keeper.
EEC keeper.
Easy. And that's for, did you say an automatic gating system? Or?
Well, it would encompass that, but primarily I'm working on an automatic hay feed.
Okay.
And I have an automatic water. It's not conventional with the float system. It's basically an air pressure, water pressure system. And I'm just getting to market with my automatic feeder. So it could go to automatic gates.
So what are you marketing?
What am I marketing to? Well, basically, I'm marketing to right now the backyard horse owner.
Okay.
But it could go beyond that. Again, I can with my system. If you can load it with feed, I can feed it. I can drop it whatever time of day you want to drop it in multiples.
Is it feed hay or is it going to be like grain or something?
You can do anything. You can do cubes.
And do you have something to keep it weather?
I do not at this. Okay. I will have a fly. I will have not a door necessarily, but when the weather is such that you need to cover, then there's a canvas door. Basically, it's just a cabinet with shelves, and you have a timer if you set the timer to feed. Let's say feed 1 Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. It'll drop the lowest shelf at 5 a.m. every day. So
I find that remarkable because as you've seen, Bill, you can be 10 different guys and their motivation for starting a business and their interest, it's all over the map. Thinking of a guy he was a painter by trade, ended up doing something in the bakery realm. It's counter to what you would know, where some guy was raised up maybe in real estate, ends up doing something else. I find it fascinating. You might find someone who can, you take a product and improve it. Advertising, you now discover with internet stuff, you can do remarkable market penetration where you couldn't figure it out before. And then some people come up with totally new ideas. Like Facebook was pretty unique. There was
FaceTime,
MySpace
before that.
but
The kids didn't use it.
they carved out something that people weren't doing before.
That was my favorite.
Now I see a lot of downside to the Facebook thing with the Supreme Court taking up a case about free speech connected to Facebook. So you're not out of the woods for some larger issues on social issues. But
Well, that's another issue. We don't want the federal government federalizing.
But I find it interesting how people develop different ideas for different reasons.
There's what Obama's trying to do.
I don't care. I'm right here. That's what
Go ahead. Go ahead.
There's just no end to why a guy drives a taxi and he ends up getting an idea for a clothing line, or the gal that developed that huge successful line Spanx about girdle type stuff for women. Nobody was doing it 12 years ago, let's say. But she came up with something that turns into $1 billion business that makes scrunches women's caboose. But you get what you get.
Here's the
Uber.
Uber, that's
see what
it.
Uber is
That's
now?
another issue here.
They're worth what, $4 or $5 billion now. Have you heard of them?
The taxi, not
Yeah.
taxi, but the service.
I never heard of that last week.
The Nevada, our consumers aren't getting.
In,
Oh, they are getting it.
in
They
May,
are, but they aren't. They're being,
Yeah.
there's
in
injunctions.
May, I was at Modesto
They have $4 billion.
at the CarMax with my son
The what?
in Modesto.
The what?
CarMax.
Oh, CarMax.
So they said, on my phone, it said, hey,
Almost equivalent to malware.
Oh, is that right?
drop cam
Because
Dropcam just sold to
personal information.
Facebook for $500 million. I'd never heard of Dropcam. Dropcam just sold for $500 million.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. So you could be
There's a lot of stuff.
completely oblivious to some of the more popular things, but not be acquainted.
Larry, there's your website being broadcast.
Yeah.
And what we're doing.
I made a mistake early on. No, I've not worked for, I had a respiratory home care business for quite a few years out of college where I delivered oxygen and breathing machines.
Oh, yeah.
And I was lucky enough, right place, right time. Brought a liquid oxygen system to Northern Nevada for home use. And I have a real estate license. I've never gotten a contractor's license because I didn't want to do the paperwork, but I've built dozens of houses.
Yeah.
So you are right. I mean, the respiratory home care business put me in the real estate business.
So anyway,
and so on, all right down the line. And then I had horses.
we'll finish out. We know we'll tie it up. Everyone say goodbye. We're going to sign off the live.
This car just drove up and it's
Eliminated.
In the wrong
yeah,
position.
that's one of the ways of saying it.
Right.
They're closing up at
No,
2 o'clock.
I can't see.
So anyway, I just shut down the
I'm nearly
live.
blind.
Yeah.